Welcome to our public hearing. Today or tonight is, July 14th. The time is precisely 6 p.m. And officially calling this meeting to order, attending are Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Filios. And before we go any further, I guess, Ben, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, then. So, are there any potential conflicts of interest?
Nope.
Hearing none.
No.
Ben, is there anything you wanted to say? Well, let me announce the case. First of all, case number ZON for zone change 21-0002, Kellner zone change. The applicant is requesting a zone change from agricultural to rural for a parcel of land approximately 50 acres. And I won't go through the tax number or the parcel number. Anyway, Ben, is there anything you wanted to say?
Nothing for introduction at this point. Amy Hillen's, our staff planner, is prepared for presentation.
Okay, so what we'll do, so we'll begin with obviously Amy, who is our planner, and then we'll proceed to the applicant. Sandy, I assume you're representing the applicant, so you'll have 15 minutes. And we have a small crowd here today, so you're welcome to take 5 minutes apiece as opposed to the standard 3. And then Sandy, you'll have time to rebut as well. So Amy, take it away, please.
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, Board of County Commissioners. Just for the attention to the record, we did receive one comment today, with your permission.
She
Hello?
is on the
Hello?
microphone.
Yep, can you hear me?
Can
you hear me?
Oh, you can't hear her?
Can we turn it up? Test, test, test. I can speak louder too.
Is that better?
I think so.
I'll speak loud.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries.
Go ahead, Amy.
All right, for the record, we did receive one public comment. With your permission, I'd like to enter it into the record. We received it today.
By all means.
And I do have copies for you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Entered in the record as B1001.
All right, today the project presented today is ZON 21-0002. It's a request for a zone change from agricultural to rural. The owners are Pines Partners LLC. The parcel is approximately 50 acres. It is located south of the city of Coeur d'Alene, in an area generally known as the east side of the lake. It is located on a peninsula west of Nechen Bay. Access to the subject parcels provided from Gazer Road here. They have an existing driveway. Gazer Road intersects Highway 97, which travels around the northern border of the peninsula. So it connects here, and here's Highway 97. Sorry about that. There are existing structures on the property, specifically a single-family residence and accessory structures. The parcel is adjacent to the Gaza Ranch Golf and Lake Club Plan Unit development. The applicants do have, or the owners rather, have an easement to Gaza Road here across the neighboring parcel to the west. The proposal is a zone change from agricultural to rural. In their narrative, they do state that there's an intention to subdivide and establish a golf course. This application is to look at the zone change request. However, there will need to be future applications for a subdivision and golf course, each of which will have their own required findings. This request is limited to the zone change. The property is contiguous to the PUD, but I want to emphasize that it is not a part of the Gaza Ranch PUD, and there are no future proposals for extension or expansion of the PUD. According to the zoning map here, the parcel is 50 acres in size. It is adjacent to the rural zone, which is depicted in orange color to the south and to the west, and restricted residential, which is in the yellow color here. It is the only agriculturally zoned parcel on this particular peninsula. The closest agriculturally zoned parcel is about 3 miles away as the crow flies. The parcel is located in the Country Comprehensive Plan designation. The primary purpose of the country designation is to promote open space agriculture activities compatible with residential development, promote residential subdivision for residential and non-residential uses. Its secondary purpose is to promote economic activity that minimizes environmental impacts and does not require a full range of services. The applicant provided numerous photos. Depicted here is the existing structures, the existing driveway off Gaza Road, and a viewpoint from the south and the north. During the public agency period, there was no opposition. The focus of all the agencies was on future development or future applications, such as those for subdivision or other uses. During the hearing examiner public comment period, we did receive 6 comments, all opposed. For this particular comment, we received 1 opposed for this particular hearing. During the public comment period, we did receive numerous types of concerns. The first 2 are specific to the zone change request. The additional, which include concerns for spot zoning, and that the proposal fails to meet the required findings. There are additional comments which are certainly valid. Unfortunately, they are focused on future uses. We can really only address them when we have an application, such as for a subdivision and future density or other uses, when we have an actual plan to address. But they are still certainly valid and will be addressed at that time. Staff analysis. The application has met all the requirements. It is sufficient in justifying the proposal. It is compatible with the surrounding zoning and land use. It's adjacent to parcels zoned rural and restricted residential. It is consistent with the comprehensive plan. It is not considered spot zoning. It is the only agricultural zone parcel on this peninsula. I do want to point out that the agricultural and rural zones do have many similar uses. And the main difference, of course, is that the agricultural zone does prohibit subdivision. I'd also like to point out, and this was brought up in the hearing by our director, when we did our research, we did find that in 1973, when the or essentially when we got our first zoning map, this parcel was actually zoned restricted residential, and the owner at the time, in 1973, rezoned it back to agricultural. Just wanted to add a slide on spot zoning. And it did, so in order for it to be spot zoning, we'd have to find that one of these items or 2 of these items are true. The first one, that it's a small parcel singled out for special privilege treatment. This is not a small parcel, it's 50 acres in size. The second one would be that singling it out for a use inconsistent with the permitted uses in the zoning district, for the benefit of the individual property owner and not in the public interest. By undergoing the zone change, it would become consistent with the surrounding zoning district, and we did find that it is in compliance with the comprehensive plan. It would also have to meet, of course, our own zoning code requirements and findings. The hearing examiner heard the request on May 5th, 2022, and subsequently submitted a recommendation of approval. Some items I wanted to point out that were highlighted by the hearing examiner is that the current designation of agricultural use is inappropriate, specifically making point that it's unclear when it was last used for ag and that the applicant made a compelling argument that these soils are not conducive to any type of crop production. They are proposing rural instead of restricted residential, so they are proposing larger lot sizes in the area, or potential large lot sizes. It's compatible with present and expected uses in the vicinity, supported by adequate infrastructure, and it is consistent with the comprehensive plan. And I stand for any questions that you have.
Leslie, any questions?
I do.
Sure.
What is the restricted residential, I know it's 8,200, but what is that per acre? How many dwellings per acre?
So 50, testing my math skills, 50 divided by 8,250
It's
square
five
feet.
units per acre.
Oh, thank you.
5 per acre?
So 5 times 5,
Okay.
50, 250, I guess.
Okay. Let's see. I suppose that's all for now.
Okay.
Bill, do you have any comments? Bill?
I did remember my second question. Can you have a golf course on agricultural?
You can, yes, but you need a conditional use permit process.
Which is
So-
the same for rural, is that
Yes.
correct? Conditional
Yep.
use permits for both.
Right, you need at least 15 acres to do so, but yes, you need a conditional use permit.
Thank you.
Sure.
For what? I'm sorry, I missed the first part. You need the 58, you need the CUP for what?
You need a conditional use permit to establish a golf course,
Oh,
and
yeah,
you can do so in the agricultural zone.
Got it. Bill, are you there? Any questions? All right, we're gonna have to move on. I don't have any, Amy, I'm fine.
Okay.
Sandy, your turn.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. Sandy Young, 3906 North Schreiber Way in Coeur d'Alene. And I'm going to just touch on a few things, but could repeat some of the things Amy said. She was very thorough. I do want to state that this property, this request has nothing to do with Gaza Ranch. In the event that a conditional use permit is approved, it will not be an extension of Gaza. It is simply to serve those 3 lots that are going to be subdivided, hopefully. So it'd be 4 lots total, 3 at 5 acres each, and then 1 at 35, roughly. And I realize that's not up for discussion tonight, that will have its own hearing. The minor sub won't, but of course, administrative approval, but the conditional use permit will. And all of the concerns, as Amy mentioned, that the public had would be examined at that time. Also, as she stated, that this is one of the few remaining parcels of land on the east side of the lake that is zoned ag. In my narrative that I submitted to the file, I do talk about the fact that the soils aren't conducive to ag. I think Mr. Gazer at the time, this is conjecture, but I actually worked on this project when I worked for the county 20 years ago when they got approval, and the Gazers had used it to run cattle, but there was never any kind of, it wasn't a feedlot, there was no manufacturing or any kind of a slaughterhouse. So I'm not sure why, unless it had to do with tax purposes, that he wouldn't have wanted it zoned restricted residential. But yes, that could be a more appropriate site if you were looking at the surrounding land uses, but that is not the desire of Pines Partners, or Jamie and Julie Kellner are the owners. It is, of course, as mentioned, in conformance with the comp plan, the country designation, in that residential subdivisions are encouraged that allow residential as well as non-residential uses. So when I took this project on, that was a defining factor for me. Both the golf course and the lots were to be supported with the country designation. It does promote open space, and a minor subdivision here will reduce the need to extend any infrastructure over a long distance. All the home sites will be, the 3 home sites will be self-contained, just as the one that's there now is. The access is via private driveway, and it comes down, you see the little cutout on the left side. That's Gazer's maintenance facility, and the Kellner's driveway comes out just below that, so just to the south of it and hits Gazer Road. I went into the circumstances that justify this proposed amendment, and I know you've read through them. And simply, since 1973, times have changed. The county has seen over 800 zone change requests, and those are due to improvements and expansions of transportation corridors, as well as protection through county code, as well as other agency requirements. I do want to mention, reiterate, Amy had said there were no public agency concerns. The highway district did come out at the beginning and say, hey, you need an approach permit. You never got one. That was totally my fault. We just spaced it out when we helped them get their building permit. But we do have it now. Highway district is happy. I do want to mention too that in the country designation, the county recognizes that small convenience stores, fuel stations, and assembly and manufacturing plants are example uses in the country designation. Certainly this is less impactful than any of that. I'm going to just go to the hearing examiner report for a moment. Touch on a couple of highlights there. So in the staff report, which obviously was before the HE report, HE plugs in the comp plan analysis. This application for a change in zoning from ag to rural is generally consistent with the comp plan, and he did put that in capital letters. The applicant is asking for a zone change from ag to rural, both of which are zones inherently consistent with the country designation. And despite there being substantial development in the area, including many smaller parcels in the Gazer PUD, this applicant is not asking for restricted residential or does not generally intend on intensive development. There was compelling evidence that this parcel is not suited for ag use, therefore a zone change is necessary for the full, though dispersed development and use of this land still being consistent with the country designation. Of course, the recommendation from approval is there, and that this requested designation will do much to preserve and protect the character of that adjoining area. I don't have any other comments. It's all in that report, and I can stand for questions. And
Sure. Leslie, any questions?
No.
Okay.
Bill, are you there?
Yes, I'm all done.
Do you have any questions for Sandy?
No, I really don't.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Okay, so why don't we take, okay, so Carleen Cada? Carleen, you wish to speak? And you're opposed.
Yes. Carleen Cada, 20621 South Highway 97, Harrison, Idaho. I just want to take this opportunity to comment that if you notice, we don't have many representatives from the Neighbors for Responsible Growth that are on the east side of the lake and are concerned with the continued development and high density that's taking place in our beautiful gem of the east side and the impact that that's having on the lake. And the members of my neighbors in the responsible growth are disappointed that the commissioners, the county has not listened to our concerns, which we feel are very valid, the ones in the past. And we're concerned that in the future, this is going to be part of the Discovery Project and additional houses, and it's getting very dense in our area. And I just wanted you to realize that it was mentioned in a previous hearing that you're stewards of this area, and you need to look what's going to happen in the next 10 to 20 years, what this area is going to look like. And it's a beautiful area. It's part of the scenic byway, and it's getting harder to see the lake from some of the highway that we have, and also concerned about how we're going to get out in case there's a need for evacuation with our one road and this high density that we have. And it doesn't seem like the county is taking that into consideration. And that's mainly what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlene. Deb Stone, your turn.
I'm opposed. My name is Deborah Stone. I live at 5321 South Freedom Lane, Harrison, 83833. The comprehensive plan from 2020, Element E, Land Use, Objective 1B, Rural Community, Policy 3 says, commercial development in rural communities should serve local residents and harmonize with communities. I understand this is a zone change, but it's obvious what they're going to try to do is put in a commercial development, a golf course. That is not going to serve the local residents. It's going to be a private golf course. Objective 5, commercial development. It's okay to permit commercial development in unincorporated areas of the county where adequate public infrastructure and transportation corridors are or will be available and where such development complements the surrounding character. We don't know about water availability up there. We don't know about sewage. We don't know whether or not this would be a viable development in the future. And clearly, the transportation corridors are virtually non-existent. 97 is the only way in and out, and it's falling apart between Arrow Point and Interstate 90. Policy 1 under commercial development says allow limited commercial development which complements and preserves rural character and has adequate infrastructure. Again, there's already a golf course up there, Geyser, it's private. This would be a private golf course. This does not complement or preserve the rural character of the east side of the lake. The Kootenai County Land Use and Development Code, Chapter 1, Article 1.1, Section 8.1.103, the purposes of this chapter are as follows. I'm not going to read through all of them, but number D says to carry out the goals and policies of the Kootenai County Comprehensive Plan, which I just outlined previously. Number F says to provide standards for the orderly growth and development of Kootenai County and to avoid undue concentration of population and overcrowding of land. If there's one thing that's up there on Geyser Ranch and the surrounding area is undue concentration of population, albeit maybe in the summer, but there is clearly overcrowding of land. And the purpose is also to ensure that development aids in the establishment of a transportation system that is safe, efficient, cost-effective, and minimizes congestion. ITD says they're not going to fix 97 because the county is allowing all sorts of development to happen up there. The county says, well, the road would be better if ITD did it. Talk about a buck passing a buck all the way around. And I live out there. If there's a fire, and it's the winter time, I don't have a boat that I can get into and get off of my property. I'm going to have to get on 97 with everybody else, and we are all going to perish. Thank you.
Deb, I have a question for you. You mentioned ITD blaming the county.
Yes,
Go ahead.
they do.
Did they tell you this?
Yes, they told us this. They said, we can't do anything. We're not going to fix the road. We might fix some potholes. Their idea of fixing potholes is to throw some asphalt down and hope the cars drive over it and make it flatter than it is. There's huge potholes everywhere. They say as long as the county is allowing all the development out there, we're not going to fix 97.
What was the name of the gentleman or lady who told you that?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember. I'm sorry. But it's been a while now. And it's true. I mean, with all the rains that we had in June, all the traffic that's on there now, the construction traffic, that road is falling apart. the top of Beauty Bay Hill, if you're familiar with that, they had barricades up and said, you know, look out, be careful. Finally, they fixed it. Years ago, when it fell apart south of us, it took them 3 years to fix it, and then they sent out a notice and say, emergency, we have to fix this. It happened 3 years before. Define emergency for me. We're not getting any cooperation from the state on that road, and it's dangerous. This winter, a car fell over the side of 97, and if it hadn't been for trees that stopped it at Arrow Point Drive, that car would have gone directly into my garage. And the road's falling apart. There's no shoulder. I was up at the top where I have my mailbox is.
Finish this thought, go ahead.
And there were some people up there in a car from Wisconsin, and I said, oh, you know, cheddarheads like I was growing up, and they talked about the road. They said, oh my God, we drove out on this road. It's really dangerous. It's really scary where it's like leaning over to the side. You have to almost drive in the middle of the road, or you could fall over the side and go into the lake. They're not fixing it.
Fair enough, okay, got it. Thank you. Okay, so that's it for folks who are here. I do have one comment that came in that Amy brought to us, and it's by Jennifer Byrne, 7250 South Panorama View Drive, and it says, and this is the comment, hello, I'm not certain what the appropriate form is other than attending the hearing to state or voice disapproval of the proposed zone change that would allow further expansion of Gosler Ranch. I simply do not understand decisions that allow developers who are laughing all the way to the bank free rein to continue to exploit the natural beauty of Highway 97, destroy the scenic byway, threaten the lake and wildlife, and jeopardize residents and visitors as they try to safely make their way along Highway 97 with a steady and dangerous stream of Gosler construction traffic. Please stop their abuse. Thank you. And we can enter this into the record, right?
It's already entered.
It's already entered, that's correct. Sandy, would you care to rebut?
Well, should we find out if anybody on Zoom wants to testify?
Oh, yeah, you got anyone on Zoom?
Ben's running
If,
that.
I just had Reagan Penwell enter the meeting, so Reagan, if you are interested in speaking?
No, not at this time. I'm just listening in.
Then that's everything.
Okay, what was the name again?
Reagan Penwell?
Okay. Anyone else? Guess not. Go ahead, Sandy.
Just a couple of things. And I know these things you know. Of course, if this were to be a part of Gosler, we'd have a public hearing, as you know, for that expansion. And with regard to the comment about country development and the comp plan, the county envisioned that there would be development, and whether it's east or west side of the lake. And so the country designation was established to be sure it was done orderly, large lot development, as well as low-intensity commercial. This golf course is not, if it happens, is not intended to be commercial. So, and then the time to discuss that, of course, would be at the CUP public hearing. So really, that's all I have, other than, as I'd stated before, all agencies, there were no adverse or objections from any of the public agencies. The hearing examiner did note we meet all requirements of the comp plan, as well as the 5 things we must justify in the code that allow for a zone change. And so I just ask that you consider those things at that time, at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion.
I move we end public testimony and enter into deliberations.
I second the motion.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Barbara Jean Doral says I'm opposed. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Barbara Jean Doral says she's opposed.
Okay.
All right, you got a motion and a second.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chairman Philios?
Aye. Who wants to go first?
Bill, you get to go first.
Okay, I'm going first. I am most concerned with the ongoing deterioration of I-97. And I am not going to approve anything that would add to the traffic on 97. That's pure and simple. I don't care what the future plans for the parcel might or might not be. I don't care what the golf course or anything else that doesn't make any difference to me. If it brings more people up and down 97, I'm opposed to it.
Okay.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the matter before us is a zone change only. There is no development predicted or projected. I mean, we cannot examine that for the zone change. So I think that the zone change is appropriate. They went for rural instead of restricted residential, so they are limited to 10 subdivision instead of 250. And I think that allowing this to remain agricultural would be a disservice to the property owner. I think that having 50 acres, they should be allowed to get, more use from it than agriculture allows. And so some of the agricultural uses are quite, I think would denigrate or, hurt the quality of life around there. So I think putting it more to rural uses would be more appropriate. And if future uses come up, we'll handle those one at a time and look at those on their merit. But the merit of the zone change, I think, is appropriate in this case.
Okay. My turn. It's interesting. Going from a 20-acre ag to a 5-acre rural minimum appears to be compatible with the surrounding area. And while theoretically it could go to restricted residential, that doesn't concern me as much. I think the comp plan also seeks to try to preserve the rural character. One of the things that I've noticed over the years, and specifically with regard to the age, and before I go there, let me also say that water is a potential concern. No matter the use, be it a golf course, be it a residential development, but we can't go there. But the fact of the matter is there's going to be some level of water use, and which may be excessive, but that's going to depend on the application. The other thing that strikes me, two things, specifically with regard to Route 97. The state has said, that they don't want to put any more money into it. It's largely patchwork. And I do recall some time ago, and it's at least 10 years ago, attending a presentation, rather detailed, given by ITD at Camp Easton, and identifying the concerns with Route 97, and also indicating that most of the accidents occurred on a summer's day, midsummer's day, on a sunny day, which is kind of interesting. And that's also obviously when you'd have most of the traffic. So that's a concern. The other concern that I have, and I've seen this repeatedly, is agencies are very reluctant to say no. And I think one of the reasons for that, and this is my opinion, but I've seen it evidenced different ways, is that appointed officials, employees of the different agencies fear the legislators because the legislators consider us bureaucrats. Well, bureaucrats or not, some of these people are experts in their respective fields. The problem is they go cowardly when it comes to a time when they have to say no. My concern with Route 97, and I've said this before, is we should never have allowed wide-scale development. It is what it is at this point. And I understand the property rights that are inherent to the individual, the opportunity to go to a conforming use with the other 5-acre parcels in the area, but I'm also concerned about the state's lack of attention to the route, so therefore I cannot support this proposal.
Well, I will add that ITD does have a project on 97 in the next 12 months.
I have not seen that.
Well, I mentioned it probably, 6-9 months ago in another one of these hearings, and I can get you the details probably not until tomorrow, though. All right, well, I think it's a huge mistake to deny this zone change, and, I mean, they've crossed all the Ts, dotted all the Is, and leaving it like this is actually, I think, a detriment to the property owner and to the area. So, wow.
But on the other hand, if you leave it as agricultural, which I guess one of the arguments is it's not appropriate, but whatever use the land may be put to, if it's put to agricultural use, well, obviously you're going to have fertilizer, that some of that fertilizer is going to seep into the lake, and of course now we get the phosphorus situation, and the the legislature just allocated $20 million for phosphorus reduction. On the other hand, if it's another application, be it residential, be it a golf course, whatever it is, once again, we're going to get into the fertilizer situation and the phosphorus and the other nutrient load that's going to result. So.
And once again, I don't believe we can consider future use. This is a zone change, plain and simple.
I think any zone change that turns a blind eye to potential future use is a mistake. And while we're not addressing a specific use, and I've not addressed a specific use, I still think that this is open to a variety of uses that potentially pose a hazard. But in any case, is there a motion?
I move we approve this zone change.
All right, I'll second it for a vote. Go ahead, Reba.
Okay. Bill Brooks,
Nay.
Chairman Duncan? Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chairman Philios?
Nay. So case number ZON0002, Kellner zone change is hereby denied. Time is now 6:36. Thank you, everyone. Meeting's adjourned.